Hi everyone.
So we arrived in Laos after taking an overnight train out of Thailand. We got to the train station at Nong Khai, and using some advice from the man on seat 61, we thought we would avoid buying a combination ticket and buy 2 tickets individually, which would allow us to cross the Friendship Bridge and get to Laos pretty easily.
So it was good advice. We saved ourselves a lot of money, but it wasn't that easy. We turned up at the train station on the other side of the Friendship Bridge and there wasn't a taxi to be seen. In fact, it was a pretty isolated spot. But with the help of the train station manager, we managed to get a taxi to come to us and got dropped off at our door, still for a bargain price.
So we were staying at the Dream Home Hostel in the middle of Vientiane. It was actually a really good location right next to the river, but what we hadn't taken into account was that there would be a lot of other backpackers who were particularly young staying in the same area.
After a pretty noisy night, we decided to book tickets straight away to Luang Prabang on the overnight bus.
This wasn't before exploring a bit of Vientiane. We went to the largest Buddhist temple there called Wat Pawang, and it was a really good experience for both of us. It was our first temple we'd been to in Southeast Asia, so we got to explore, figure out what we were doing, and it was just really impressive. The Buddhas were massive, and it was really good to have a walk around, really.
So our overnight bus got us to Luang Prabang at 8 in the morning, and then from there it was a very short tuk-tuk ride straight into town.
It was a funny ride. It was quite a small bus. I mean, it's okay for everyone here, but if you're anything over 5'11", I would say it's a bit of a tight fit, so your legs are about that far too long. But it was a very comfortable ride, and we were actually pleasantly surprised by how nice it was.
We didn't have a hostel booked, so we got dropped off with the other backpackers and then we walked from there, and as it so happens we found a beautiful place called Cold River Guest House.
So it was an amazing find actually for us. It was in a really great spot, really relaxing, and gave us exactly what we needed after having a couple of nights without much sleep.
It turns out that we arrived in Luang Prabang actually at a really good time. It was the 20th anniversary of Luang Prabang being UNESCO's World Heritage Site, and we were there to see the carnival.
Hundreds of people involved in the carnival, including 20 elephants who all paraded through the city centre, which was just incredible to be around and really lucky for us.
Yeah, we got a really good front seats with a nice cup of coffee, and we had a really lovely morning.
So Luang Prabang is actually quite a hub for a lot of activities, including trekking, kayaking, climbing, all sorts. And we decided we wanted to have a bit of that. So we decided to take kayaks down the Mekong to the Pak Bu Caves.
So it's a bit of a cloudy morning and an early start, but we made our way in a 40-minute tuk-tuk ride north to the river and jumped in our 2-man kayak.
So as we were going down the river, we slowly started taking on a lot of water, and it was a bit of a panic, but it wasn't, obviously too much of a surprise when we actually went in and watched our kayak float down the river
with all of our belongings in it. Luckily, Luke managed to grab 2 of our bags, but we were stood on the shoreline a bit stranded and not too sure what to do as the rest of our group had sailed off ahead.
So we were a bit down that we'd lost a few things, but we got to our boat and the instructor was there. He actually discovered that our boat was broken even before we'd started, so to fix that, used a lighter with an old bottle and melted the plastic onto the hole that was causing the problem. So I think lesson from us is check what you're actually going in before you go in it, because otherwise you'll end up capsized.
Yeah, it was a pretty stressful journey to the caves from there in our semi-broken, semi-fixed boat, but we managed to make it, and we really enjoyed looking at the caves with all the Buddhas and plenty of tourists there, but nevertheless it was still really interesting.
So after we'd been to the caves, our instructor said, we've got to carry on, we'll carry on down the Mekong, but this bit's very dangerous. This bit is very, very strong currents, lots of people capsize, some people can't swim. So obviously that did everything he could to calm us down and help us relax. So we obviously got into the boat, frightened of going in, but actually it turned out to be fine.
So from there we arrived at Whiskey Village, where we tried some homemade whiskies, and a few shots later we made our way back to Luang Prabang. The next morning we got a tuk-tuk ride off to Quang Si Waterfall, which was just beautiful. It had the bear sanctuary there and there's Butterfly Park down the road, and we really recommend it if you can, getting your own motorbike and taking it there for a whole day.
It's just the most spectacular waterfalls I've ever seen, bluest water I've ever seen, and we were treated to an absolute sight. We walked all the way to the top of the waterfall to look over the edge. We walked in it. It was just absolutely amazing, and probably our biggest recommendation when you're in Luang Prabang.
So most of the evenings we spent our times in the markets, and there's a whole host of things you can buy there, from souvenirs to cushions, jewellery, wall hangings, art. We did go a bit over the top with our shopping, and we have paid a lot of money to get it all sent home, but
it's worth it in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
So as well as having lots of activities, Luang Prabang has a lot of handmade goods and is famous for its silk. So we went to one of the shops here called Ok Pop Tok, and they host a free tour to where they actually make and weave all the products.
It was fantastic to have a half an hour free tour around, watching the women do what they do with these really simple machines. They have weaving and dyeing classes available for tourists as well if you've got the money, and it's an amazing location on the Mekong River with this beautiful cafe overhanging it, so we really recommend it if you're in Luang Prabang.
So when we returned from the Ok Pop Tok Craft Centre, we decided to climb up Mount Fuji, which is in the centre of Luang Prabang, and at the top there's a Buddhist shrine. But this is also a great place to watch the sunset, so along with about 100 other tourists, we all stood there watching the sun go down over the mountains. It was a really nice experience, if a bit crowded, but we both enjoyed it.
It's been a fantastic time in Luang Prabang, but today we decided to rent the scooter and get out of the town and see some of Laos ourselves.
We ended up at the Tadsay waterfalls, which was a quite easy drive away from the town. It's about 6 miles away, but both enjoyed it. Again, fantastic waterfalls, and we'd highly recommend it.
So we've fallen in love with Laos really, everything from the street food markets to the really friendly people. I've even had a fantastic foot massage while I'm here, and we've both had a really relaxing time.
We'd really recommend it, whether you're an adventurer or just like a bit of pampering and enjoying some time chilling out. It's really for everyone, and we give it our thumbs up.
We'll definitely be back to see more.
Anything that we've missed in our video blog you can read on our website.
We will speak to you all next from Vietnam.
Bye
guys.